Hi, you might remember me from movies such as Los Fuerzas del Chiquero, The Mexican Revolution, or my upcoming film, Mr. Black Film. But today, I want you to join me as we take a stroll alongside the Mississippi River and later on take a swim into America's early history. I'm your host, Lord Perez. The Mississippi River literally means the River of the Falls, stretching from up north Minnesota all the way to down south Louisiana. And today, we'll be taking a closer look at life in the Mississippi River in the 1800s.
The Mississippi River is the second largest river in North America, stretching at over 2,300 miles. They say that a raindrop that falls in Lake Itasca, Minnesota, will arrive in Louisiana in just 90 days. The Mississippi is one of the largest sheds in the world, serving as a major drainage system of about 31 U.S. states. The Mississippi River has habitats for plants and animals that can only be found here and nowhere else. More than 300 species of fish inhabit the river, making it a fishing hotspot. Basically, the Mississippi River holds one of the most diverse communities of plant and animal life in the world. The Mississippi River is a lasting mark in American culture. It affected American history, commerce, agriculture, literature, and environmental awareness. It also came to symbolize commerce, discovery, and freedom. This river, as a result, is America's first interstate. Rough rafts made of log, known as keelboats, were the early form of transportation on the Mississippi. They were replaced in the 1880s by the steam engine, which changed life along the Mississippi forever. At the beginning of the century of river transportation, keelboatsmen were the only ones to do the traveling. Their journeys sometimes took up to 9 months, and by the end of the trip, they would get to New Orleans, sell their rafts, and walk on or ride back home. Since life on the river was crude, most keelboatmen were rough and hardy men. Rude, uneducated, brave, and they suffered great hardships and were known for their sailor-like stoicism. They were heavy drinkers, heavy fighters, and barbaric, but they were honest, trustworthy, and faithful to their duty and promises. Little did these people know that soon the rafting era would die, and the new technology would make its way. The first steamboat to travel the Mississippi was the New Orleans, built by Robert Fulton and Robert Livingston in 1811. The steamboat puffed out large clouds of thick smoke, and the smell of burning wood wasn't too pleasant. Passengers' clothing smelled of smoke, and they would sometimes be covered in dust. Aside from unfavorable conditions, the steamboats were floating palaces. They carried casinos, goods, and people up and down the river. I remember the first time I saw them steamboats. There was pure trouble. I just remember this one time I was in a raft with my boy Huck when this steamboat came at us and broke the raft. I was real scared. I reckon I was never gonna see that boy Huck again. Life on the river was mighty fine. Sailing on a raft to them free nigger states up north, I felt like a free nigger already.
Life on the Mississippi was fun. I remember them old days. All I would do was lay on my raft and just float down the Mississippi without a care in the world. I would spend my days sleeping on my raft and counting the clouds up above. And at night, I would watch the stars and the moon. But don't get me wrong, sailing down the Mississippi was no funny business. It was dangerous. I can't remember how many times I almost lost my raft, and especially in my life. But overall, it was great. I wish I could go back to those old days.
Mr. Mark Twain, one of the greatest writers in American history. Wow, it's a grand pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you, Eduardo. I appreciate your kind words.
Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. How did you come up with such an exciting novel?
Well, see, Eduardo, my novel was based on my experiences from being a co-pilot of a steamboat. See, that's how I learned about the raft journeys and about how tough life was in the Mississippi.
And that job really paid off, because throughout this entire book, you have some
really descriptive river scenes. Tell me, Mr. Twain, how was it being on a steamboat?
Being on a steamboat was marvelous. See, everywhere you'd go, people would admire you. It's kind of like today's kids, how they kind of want to grow up to be a police officer or a firefighter. Well, back in the 1800s, most kids wanted to become steamboat captains.
I can clearly say now that I learned something new today, Mr. Twain. I realized that steamboat captains really weren't that bad back in the days. Well, it looks like we're about just out of time, Mr. Twain. So, thank you again for taking time to answer some of my questions. Mark Twain, everyone, and be sure to read Huckleberry Finn if you haven't read it. I must say this is one of the greatest pieces of literature I've read in my life. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me tonight as we uncover the secrets behind the Mississippi River and the life it had in the 1800s. Thank you for letting me be your host this evening. I'm Eduardo Perez. Good night. Before the steamboat era, many of these young people were forced to live in rafts. Today, we were fortunate enough to talk to one. Here, take a look.
On our way to the river, we were surprised to find a local raftsman by the name of Jim Crow. He was black and a runaway slave. Jim was surprised to see us and thought he was in trouble for fishing out of preserve and refused to answer some questions, but we later got through to him.
Oh, sir, can we ask you a few questions? This won't take long. Wait, no, don't worry, I don't mean anything. Don't worry. Sir, wait. This won't take a minute. Stop, sir.
What you want, what you gonna do when the sun don't come for you? Tell me what you gonna do, Yeah. Bad boy, what you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boy, what you gonna do when they come for you? When you get in the apartment and you
okay?
Get in the apartment. Get over. You know what?
Alex, get him.
So why are you acting like a bloody fool? If you get sick, get in the apartment. 1 second, man. Bad boy, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boy, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? The chuck is on that one.